How About That Cigar is proud to bring you coverage of the 2023 PCA Trade Show, all brought to you by Don Doroteo Cigars.
How About That Cigar? We are back again at PCA 2023, day number 3, and we are very excited to be here in the Hooten Young booth with Tim Young, Allison Trainer. You guys know Allison from episode 206 of How About That Cigar Live.
That was
and it's
so
our
fun.
first time meeting with Tim. Tim, it's great to see you. How are you, my friend?
Same here. I really appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys at the PCA Trade Show. Our first time visiting with you. We've you know, when we had Allison on the show, we got to try out your products. You guys have some really good cigars on the market, and there's more than just the cigars. There's passion and there's a story behind it, like so many others. And one of the things that we love hearing about during this trade show with all the manufacturers is what is it that kind of drives you to participate in, because there's a lot of different events around the world. What is it that drives you to participate in the PCA trade show?
Well, actually, you know, we've been wanting to come to PCA for the last 3 or 4 years, but we were kind of not there yet. We couldn't figure out how to do it. And, you know, we have a philosophy at our company. It's called walk before you crawl, or crawl before you walk. And so the thing is, do we think we were ready there yet to come to PCA? You know, you don't want to come here and just have one table and just have cigars laid out. So when we hired Allison, was that it kind of took us to another level. Now we go from the crawl to the walk, right? And so the idea with this was that Allison was able to take over this PCA and say, what do we need? How do we want to look? How do we approach this? How do we set up appointments, right? And it was a point where we just felt that this was the time. So we are rookies here at this time at PCA. It's been exciting. There's a lot of changes we're going to make for next year. A little bigger booth because we were a little crowded. It's been a great deal for us.
Crowded is a really good thing.
Well, it is, but it's kind of like, and unfortunately, when you look across this whole thing and you see all these people and they're waving at you and they're talking to you and you don't want to miss out on them, someway I feel I need a little isolation. So other than that, I love being here. It's been a great adventure for us, and we've made a few sales too.
Yeah, we've made.
Well, and Allison, that's a good question for you. Is what kind of feedback are you getting from not only customers, shops that already carried your product, but from the first timers that you let try your product and decided to open an account? What kind of feedback are you getting?
We've actually been getting. Hold on.
Time to clear the throat. We'll edit that out. It's all okay.
And I'll tell you,
It's a PCA throat.
Yeah.
the people who come to us and know out, they love Allison. Dude,
Yes.
I mean, she is the hottest thing in this place, and so people come to her and they go,
He's not wrong.
They're ready to talk to Hooten Young because Allison is here. So Allison.
Well, and I'll say this too. It does make a big difference having somebody here who knows a lot of other people in the industry.
Yeah.
Because it does take time to build those relationships.
Yeah, and we're a family. I mean, all of the cigar industry is so much a family. Like, you have to build your clout here. This is not something you just walk into and say, well, people think it is. I got a lot of money, so I can just make a cigar.
Yeah.
And we all know that that's been in this industry for a long time, and it's looked down upon.
Right.
Because again, with the crawl, walk, run, it's even the same thing with us as the industry, because, you know, to be the bigger names, it took them years upon years. It wasn't just a over the night thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but the excuse me, the PCA throat going on today.
Yeah. Day 3.
Yeah, exactly. With what's been going on and what I've seen from people is they really respect, like, this has a story behind it that's unlike no other, and the story's legit. There's no unstolen valor.
Unstolen valor.
There's no unstolen valor going here. There's no like story that you kind of like, are you sure that's real?
Yeah.
It's all real. And then these guys were consumers, and now they're becoming part of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were consumers, as you and I have both seen. Like, how many brands can you name that are not around when you and I first met.
I talked about that with somebody earlier today. Yeah, brands that just were really hot stuff just
Right.
4 or 5 years ago, and now they're gone.
Gone.
They're gone.
Exactly.
But you know, one thing that's different than us, clearly, we're not only a cigar company, we're also a whiskey company as
Right.
well. And so there's not many of those parodies that are out there. So, you know, we started with cigars. We've gone through the different lines of business. We've kind of gone through our trials and errors and so forth. And actually at this event, we have met more manufacturers. We've met other people that could take us to the next level. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
And things that we didn't know about. But interesting enough is where we started at. And if you don't mind, I want to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, when Norm and I first met, our kids were at West Point together. And then we became really, really good friends. And we would smoke and drink. I'm going to tell you, we would smoke Monte Cristo White Series number 2s. That's what we'd go down to Coronas, buy those, a bunch of boxes, come back, and that's what we would do. And then we would drink Buffalo Trace or Blands or whatever, and we love those. Well, one day he says to me, "Hey Tim, let's do some cigars for the 25th anniversary for Mogadishu, which is Gothic Serpent / Black Hunt Down." And so what happens is that we start with that, and then all at once we started getting orders. We never planned to be in the business of doing cigars. Our thing, we're not takers, we're more givers. And so what happens is, you know, we thought, okay, great, we have these orders. How do we deal with this? So we found somebody who's a friend of ours that was able to get us started and get it going for us. And then we started doing another one. And it was like, oh, another one. And we just didn't realize the capacity that was going on for our name, the logo, and the story of Norm Hooten. And so, would you like me to touch on what Norm Hooten's background is?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's go a little further back.
I mean, we did it in the interview, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
want to hear it from you too.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Norm is that most people don't know, even though you watch Black Hawk Down, there's a character named Hoot, Eric Bannon plays a part. You know, when Norm used to tell me stories, I thought they were fish stories. You know, this fish is this big.
Yeah.
And then I started meeting some of his friends. I realized, oh, he was kind of giving me the minnow story.
Oh, okay.
He wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the big story, but it was a big story, but it was not this story. And then when other operators would come in, you hear more about what happened at Mogadishu or other events that Norm has been involved with. You know, he spent 16 years in Delta Force. He spent 22 years in the Army. The guy has a ton of experience with the military side. Super great guy. But I'm going to tell you this, he's very respected in the military, you know, the arena. And we just enjoy that atmosphere right with him. But then he also went to work for the Air Marshals after 9/11. He was a trainer in that. Then he worked for the Jordanian Special Ops groups. And the whole premise of this was when he retired from the Army, he wanted to be a pharmacist. So he went to pharmacy school. And now he's a doctor in pharmacy for the VA. That's the reason why he's not here today. He had to go back to work.
Yeah.
And so this guy has given his whole life basically to the government. And so when we do the cigar and the whiskey side that we're doing now, it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a great time doing it. Now, actually about 2 years after we were in the cigar business, Norm calls me up. He said, why don't we get into the whiskey business? I said, what the hell do we know about whiskey? I said,
You know how to drink it.
I know
Yeah.
how to drink it. I know how to
Pour it
do
in the glass.
Yeah, I know how to do that. And so then he said, well, you know somebody. I said, well, I kind of know somebody. And I knew somebody that was Master Som named George Miliotis. Called him up, met with him in Orlando, where I currently live. And Norm was living there too at the time. And we went down, met with George, and he said, oh, we'll go ahead and I'll find somebody to make your whiskey. Okay. So, of course, I, at that point, moved to Hong Kong, and I get a call from George Milios, and he says to me, hey, Tim, no one wants to return my calls. I said, dude, you're a master som. Everybody should call you. He said, I can't get my return my call. I said, well, let me go online on LinkedIn. And the power of LinkedIn is huge. People don't understand. You know, majority of the time, you're going to get a response back from most of these people if it's a legit question you're going to ask. The next day, I get a text message back from the president of MGP. He says, I got a guy for you. And it ended up being the VP, the head guy of the distillery at MGP. So he only has one account. That was us. And so, but he has reps of other people. And so then what happened was we went up there, we found the whiskey, so forth. There's a lot of small stories in between there about how I didn't spit the liquor out, I swallowed everything. I didn't make it past the second row, and almost didn't make it to the airport. But we found a whiskey that we really like. It's a nine right now, currently now. We have a whiskey that's not.
Hold on one second. We're just gonna let it roll until after the announcement's over, and then we'll cut it and splice it back.
I don't know why they think we can't understand that.
I can't understand what they said.
No.
You can't understand a word. So
Next.
remember where you're at in your story.
Cut to. Okay, so then what happens is, we got to the whiskey side, and we really never thought that we'd be bigger, that we'd sell locally, whatever. Okay, COVID hit. We got into COVID, and then we had all these bottles that we had made. We had made about 1,000 cases and so forth. We invested. Let you know, my wife, or both our wives said, if you don't sell them, you're going to smoke them, you're going to drink them. And Norman and I looked at each other and said, well, we're good with that. It's good juice.
Could be worse.
Right.
It could be worse.
Could be locked in for a year and a half.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so Stephanie, my wife, was stuck over in Hong Kong, and I was back in Orlando. And so we ended up selling to a guy in Bethlehem and in Orlando, super good guy. He actually, we told him, said, listen, you're going to buy a case. If you don't sell it in a month, we'll buy it back. Within that whole month, he sold almost 200 or 300 cases.
Nice.
Within the 3 months, we sold 945 cases of our whiskey. So it's interesting how things work in the middle of COVID, right? Perfect timing for us, I guess. But the situation was, sad, but we were able to get our whiskey out. So at that point, then we just started migrating. Came back from Hong Kong again, did another trip back there, came back, and our cigars were Mandarin. We were actually online, and we were doing well. We did certain events, and our whiskey just shot off. I mean, we're in 34 states in 3 years, and it's doing crazy good. But on the cigar side, we continue to drive the business because that's where we started at. Yes, we don't make our money most on cigars. We make it on the whiskey side. But we started this, and that's what Norm and I really love. So what happens is we knew that we had to grow the company. And to do that, we had to have the right people to do it. And there was a situation that we were at, we first met, was in Lakeland at Cigar Life, a guy named Mario and Patty.
Yep.
Great people. And they buy a lot of our cigars. And we were already currently in Patty, their place already, and we were at Cigar Life in Coronas in Florida. And I met Matt Booth. Matt Booth came over because we were in the same magazine of what was
ATF.
It? ATF. And we were ATF. And he comes over, we talk to each other, great guy. He's an ex-military guy, which was great. But interesting enough is that we had these tables laid out, if you remember that.
Yeah, it was a rectangle.
Yeah, a rectangle. But our table only had cigars. Everybody had all this great props and everything. I'm like, well, you looked at us and you're like, oh, those are rookies. Interesting enough, we had the longest line, right? People wanted pictures from us. I don't know why. We had autographs on autographs.
There's a lot of veterans in that area too.
Yeah, a lot of veterans and first responders.
Right.
And so they were like, we enjoy and we love talking to those guys. Well, Matt came over and said, hey, I think I know you guys. And then ultimately he introduced me to Allison. I said, well, Allison, what are you doing? Of course, she's telling me what she's doing. I said, man, we really need somebody. And Matt, actually, I called Matt about her, and I said, Matt said, yeah, she's wonderful. She knows everybody. So I said, okay, great. So we brought her on, and it's really changed our whole trajectory, right, or whatever you call it, of our business. Because, now we have somebody who's smart in the business, even though she's a little bossy once in a while, and she bosses my ass around. But my wife says I need that once. She knows my wife, so she knows I'm never the boss. But we enjoy that she's here. We're growing our business. I think we can triple our business within this next. Actually, we've doubled our business already from the last 2 years.
Yeah.
With having Allison on board. Yeah. It does help. I'll let everybody know. We're on the terminal list. Jack Carr is a friend of ours, which I'm wearing his hat today. And then Jack had us on the Joe Rogan show as well, and had our cigars and our whiskey on there. Our numbers spiked up.
Yep.
Which is great. We really appreciate him and Joe and doing that. But at the end of the day, it's the relationships we're making here. this gave the elevation for us to feel comfortable with, hey, we can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our stuff is really good. I mean, I would say, listen, all these guys have great cigars. Don't get me wrong, they're all good. They have good stories. But our aspect is that in our company, we're quite different. One is the whiskey side. The two is that normally I don't get paid.
Yeah.
We put our money towards our products, and then we have 3 right now part-time people. Probably within this next month, they're going to be full-time people. But it is we're just growing so fast that it's getting a little crazy for us. So with that, you got to have new marketing people, you got to have new operations people, you got to have more sales people,
More assistants.
And we're like, well, man, we're actually becoming a company now.
Yeah, and it's a lot of, it's a lot of things to keep track of at the same time. But with this, this being the first PCA trade show for you guys, because a lot of times if it's a brand that's been at the trade show multiple times, we like to talk about.
Oh.
See, it happens to all of us. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, it happens to all of us.
Oh, no, that's me all the time.
Yeah, me too. So, we typically talk to some of these other brands that have been to multiple trade shows over the years, and typically for them, it's a new product that they're featuring at the trade show. For you guys, that being your first trade show, you're featuring all your products,
right?
But
with the new.
With the new, so
right.
So part of that is what, even though it's your first trade show, you're featuring the company as a whole, there still is a product that you are sort of putting forward as your featured product,
right.
And that's this one right here.
Right.
So talk to us, Allison, about this project.
So this project, because when the company started 5 years ago, it started on the 25th anniversary of Black Hawk Down, Gothic Serpent.
Yeah.
And so Operation Gothic Serpent, which on the civilian side of life, that would be Black Hawk Down. So now we're at the 30th anniversary, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous presentation. Even the front of the box with the H and the Y, and the 19 stars means it represents the 19 lives that did pass during Black Hawk Down or Gothic Serpent.
Yeah.
And then Eladio Diaz is who is making this amazing cigar with us. It's a 20 count Bellicoso. With 54 by 6.5. 54 by 6.25. Sorry.
Quarter.
This is the first time seeing the box in person.
Okay.
We got it here Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So it got here literally Saturday morning. We got to see physically the box.
Now, so let me add on to this real quick. So, my background, I'm a CFO of nature, right? So I look at numbers and indexing and futures and so forth. And one thing is that majority of all our boxes, all our line currently now, other than this one, are made in Nicaragua. We love Nicaragua cigars. What happens is, I don't know what the politics going on there. I said, listen, let's change it up a little bit. Let's add a couple more lines from DR. And so one of my good friends named Warburton, really great friend of mine, said, hey, I have this friend of mine, his name is Eladio Diaz. I went, oh, okay, I don't really know anything about him.
He's a legend.
Yeah, he's like Superman in some ways.
Hey, he wants to meet you on Friday. And I said, it was Wednesday. And I went, oh, geez, I better start making some calls. And so I go down with him on Friday morning. We get there, so impressed because he sat there, and I acted like I was like the kid from in kindergarten going into a room, like I'm not going to say a word, I'm going to listen to them talk and so forth. The guy was pulling stuff out of his box and pairing stuff. I brought a little bit of our rye with us. I brought a couple of our bottles of whiskey, which I didn't know he's a whiskey drinker. Everybody else in the room was rum drinkers, but he's a whiskey drinker. So it's ironic enough. So he says to me, through interpretation, we found a couple of cigars. So I found this. He actually found this for us.
Okay.
And because you smoked 8 of them within 4 or 5 hours, and at some point, I'm like, I don't know which one's what. He's going, this is the one for you. This is going to pair with your rye. And I went, awesome. So we did this based on set up a new line of business in regards to DR. 2 is I have one of the best master blenders in the country. And number 3 is we get to tell a story again on the 30th anniversary. And I can tell you this: so like when you buy this, you also have the ability to buy a 30th anniversary bit to 6-year-old rye from the source as well, and it has the same white cover, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So as you guys, tomorrow will be the last day of this trade show. As you guys look ahead to a short turnaround, March of next year will be the next trade show.
9 months.
Are we going to see you guys there?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Hell yeah,
So
we're already planning.
How do you get geared up for it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we will have a bigger booth, we hope.
Okay.
All depends on PCA. Of course, we were down below the list now. We just started coming to PCA. But the idea is we probably need to get a larger one, change the structure a little bit, and have it to where we're a little bit more noticed, which we've had a lot of people here.
Yeah.
A little corner spot here.
A lot of people have been coming by because of the fact that one of the biggest things we've been hearing is that it's been so much about the press releases coming out.
Yes.
Because before they didn't know how to get into our media. And because it's not like our media is posted everywhere. It's not the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
So you got to know how to find you guys, Coop, Half Wheel, and all that.
Exactly.
Well, I'll also be frank too. We don't spend a whole lot of money on marketing. We are in the Cigars and Spirits magazine with Jim Toner. He's done a great job for us. But most of our media and everything has been given to us. I mean, we're in the Navy magazine. We're in certain things. Of course, we're in those other podcasts that do it. We did another podcast with Oil and Whiskey, guys up in Illinois. We've done a lot of that, and it's really facilitated. But as regards to next year, I think probably we probably could double or triple our business.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to that, and look forward to seeing you guys sometime soon too.
Yeah, we love. I mean, obviously we love cigars. That's why we're here. But
Right.
there's something special about cigars that have meaningful stories behind them, and companies that have meaningful stories behind them. And this is one of those companies. This is one of those companies that has a meaningful story behind it, and that gives the consumers something to connect to, something to
Chew on?
chew on, and try to understand it at a deeper level. When you enjoy the cigar, and for those who partake, they enjoy the whiskey as well with the cigar, and it's there can be little moments of sort of reflection of thinking about the meaning behind it instead of just the smoke itself.
So one thing is, if you not notice, I think it's in front of this box here. This is made to remember. All our boxes have it.
That's just it.
Our thing is made to remember those who are fallen and those currently serving. And so, but when we have conversations, we're not sitting here watching TV. We're not in our phones. We're together talking, communicating like we used to do a long time ago. But it's the ability to be able to have communication, understand your life and your stories and so forth.
Yeah.
That's what we used to do then. And versus texting. We're always texting our messages, right? But now the ability to remember those who are fallen, and then the stories that we try to keep in our boxes is to say, hey, listen, remember these guys. World War II. How about the Black Hawk Down? How about the operators themselves? How to go through the 2020 slate? How about the Paladine series? Or even, we know if you know this, you talked about the Neptune Spear.
Oh yeah, we did that on this.
On the last podcast. The Neptune Spear, is the Bin Laden raid. Whatever I call the Bin Laden raid. Technically, it's probably something else. But we met the guys from that mission about 6 months ago, and how they were just shocked how awesome these cigars were. And so our deal is to try to keep those guys. And one thing we have to do, we got to come up with something for the Air Force. We haven't done that yet. We probably need, the Navy was the Neptune Spear, and we probably needed something for the Marines or something.
Yeah, well, then you can get all the bases covered, because you don't want to leave anybody out.
Nope.
Right.
But especially, I was going to make a joke about the Air Force. I was going to say because they just whine if they don't get included. I'm joking, of course. I don't mean that.
No, I got to say, they do whine. No. No, but I would tell you this, is that we love them all. I'll tell you, every year we go to the Army-Navy game. And I tell people I hate the Navy for 5 hours. We love them before and we love them afterwards. But when they play, Army plays against Navy, I want them to lose. And that's the only time I want them to lose. But I got to tell you, we love all these guys. And, you know, another thing, the first responders deals. We're here to support every first responder. This is a tough life, tough deal, and we're here for them as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's funny how, because everybody says, well, how many times do you sell to military folks? Well, I would say less than 50%. I think we reach out to individuals who want to support the military, support the efforts that we're doing, and so forth. So we want to continue this effort for hopefully years to come.
Yeah, it's exciting, and we know you guys are excited because you've just this first trade show. You've seen a lot of traffic, a lot of people coming by, and we look forward to a great year for you guys, and cannot wait to see you continue to expand into PCA next year. So thank you guys very much for spending time with us.
Well, thank you for spending your time with us.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.